Okay, not going to claim to be any type of chef or anything like that, but I have been using a cast iron skillet for a few years, and I've always heard that a properly seasoned skillet should not be washed with soap and water. And there have been times that we've had to wash our skillet with soap and water in order to get things to work the way they should. But kind of learned a few things that work well for me, and that is how I clean a skillet where I can get a slippery skillet that still remains relatively clean. So I figured I would go ahead and show you how I do that without using soap and water. Now, I think there's a reason they call a seasoned skillet seasoned, and that is probably because it has seasoning in it. Duh, makes a little sense. And so one of the things that I do, and I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit about how I do it. Again, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I have found if you let the skillet get too hot, that's not necessarily beneficial. It can be negative. Let's put a little more egg in here. Egg is one of the worst things, it seems like, to stick to a skillet. And of course, egg and cheese doesn't get much worse than that when it comes to sticking to a skillet. So hey, this is not a dog video. Most of my channel is about dogs. But at the same time, why not share a tip? Since the skillet was hot, that won't take but just a minute. Just a minute, baby. We're making a short video. This won't take long, okay? So we're going to give that just a minute to cook up and turn into like a burrito omelet, so to speak. And then when I'm done, I'll show you how I clean it without having to use any soap and water. In such a way that it remains seasoned. Just going to let it cook through for just a minute. And it doesn't have to be cooked totally all the way, because if it's rolled up hot, the heat will continue to cook the remaining portion of egg. So we're going to roll this up in just a minute. You could just flip it in the hat and right in the center like a taco, and of course that would work, but I tend to prefer to roll it a little bit, kind of like that, and just slide it out of the skillet. Now that I've gotten that part out, I'll turn of course the stove off. I'll give it a quick rinse. It has to be rinsed a little bit. Show them this. It has to be rinsed a little bit, otherwise I'll burn my hand. I'm not going to use any soap. But I will get some of the excess heat out. And I'll put it back on the skillet. And then I'll cover it with salt. The water's going to evaporate. Of course, water dissolves salt, so we don't really want to use water to clean our skillet. Instead, we're going to use a little bit of butter. And because butter is greasy, and we don't want that in our dishes, maybe I'm being lazy or whatever, will use paper towel. Again, there may be a chef expert that knows far more about this than me, but this is what works for me. Just a minute, baby. And of course, it would probably be better if it wasn't on a hot eye, because even though I turned it off, it is still hot. So let me give this a quick rinse and we'll show you what we're left with. Stay right here. I'll be right back. Look over here, Connor. So, and that's what you're left with. If you want to wipe out any of the water, you certainly can. And while it may not be perfect, things could certainly be much worse. You can stop it.